All right, so what you see here is your homework. This is what you're going to create at the end of it. You already know how to move, rotate, scale. You know how to change your view to be able to put this together. You'll also notice there are a few different objects that we didn't model throughout the 14-day course, but these are pretty simple. But you don't have to do this, but they're pretty easy if you want to give it a try. What we're going to do in this lesson is that we're going to light the scene. We're going to light the props individually, as you see here in the asset browser. I will explain about this just now. We're going to light these individually and take like screenshots of them so they'll look nice and pretty whenever we open our asset browser. What is the asset browser? Well, it's one of our editors, because remember we talked about that in the beginning. If I click on this editor type, we could switch it to the 3D viewport, or we switch it to the shader editor. But in this case, we want to switch it to the asset browser. And so what that allows you to do is that if you're in any scene, or any other scene, I should say, you could simply click on an asset and drag it into the scene like this, for example. So we're going to see how to do that, how to light it, how to take these nice pictures of them, so to speak, and then mark them as an asset so we can be able to use them freely in another project. So let's go from scratch. Let me Control Z to undo that. All right, so I'm going to turn off these lights first of all, and I'm going to close this window. So hover the mouse here and let's close that window there. I'm gesturing to the left, and also I'm just going to bring this down. All right, for now, let me turn off. I created a scene, another folder or collection for this scene mockup that we see here. I could simply click this check button to disable that. So I'm starting from fresh. You should have your props from any previous video. Put them in a folder like this. It's easy. All right, so we have our props there one by one, all of them modeled correctly, scaled correctly, sorry. So let's enable this first one, for example. And let's now hover the mouse over here and click and drag to create another window there. We want to add a camera, and we want this camera to look at this object. And that is what we're going to take a picture of from the camera view. So to add a camera, you can simply, well, I have already added a few cameras here, but let me show you. You could just click on scene collection. You just press Shift A, and here you add a camera, right? This is the fourth camera I created. To look through the camera, you have to have this camera enabled. To know if it's enabled, you have to click on this camera button here where this is highlighted. If I scroll in, you'll notice that this camera is facing this way. So if I press 0 to look through the camera, you notice we will stay into space. Let me show you. If I press 0, yeah, there's nothing there. I don't press 0 again to come out. So what we need to do, we could leave this view here and come across here, and we could move about our camera. See that? So let's go to press 3 for side view. And let's move our camera a bit back like this. 7 for top view, and we want to look at it at a slight angle. Mind you, our camera looks very tiny, so we could simply press S to scale it. It wouldn't affect how it looked through the camera. We just want to scale the visibility of the camera. All right, so we're in top view here. Let's press 1 for front view, and let's raise this up. Press G1. All right, so now what we could do over here, remember, it's mouse sensitive. I can press 0 on the numpad to look through the camera, and now we see something. From here, instead of having to navigate and across here and move it up, left, right, back, how we did it across here just now, we could simply click on this arrow, or we could press N to bring out that side menu. And in view, we could click on lock camera to view. Now, when we click on that button, press N to get rid of it. Whenever we scroll or move or rotate, we are actually moving the camera, as you can see here, to exactly what we want. If it is that we don't want to see outside the camera here, that's pretty easy. Let's go up to the properties. Remember, this deals with the settings of these objects. So let's go down here to the data properties and scroll down where it says passepartout and turn this all the way to 1. In that way, we block everything around, and we just create a frame around that. So now let's move this down a bit. I'm pressing the scroll wheel to scale. I'm pressing Shift. I'm navigating because I want the correct view. All right, so something like that. So we can leave it like that for now. Don't forget to press N and turn off this camera to view. Now, if we find that is a bit wonky, we could straighten it up So we can actually go here to the object the properties and scroll up. And here we could change the location of the camera. So to make it easy, we can make the y-axis 0 and the x-axis, we could set it to 90. So it's rotated by 90 degrees. Good. And it's easy now to move this left and right to exactly what we want. It looks a bit stretched. That's because of the focal length of the camera. By default, the camera will be set to 50 millimeters, but that gives it too much perspective. But we want it to be nice and straight. These lines here, it's a bit bent. So we could switch this to like 200 millimeters, a nice 200 millimeter lens. Of course, we'll zoom far into it, so we have to back out a bit. That's easy to do. We can actually press 7 for top view, or across here, either way we could do it. We could press N, it re-enable camera to view, lock camera to view, and just scroll out, scroll out. All right, we have a nice view. Remember, we're trying to get it something like this, so we could get it straight like this, or in this case, I had like a little angle like that. However we want it, however you want it. So press N and turn that off. So now that we have our prop set up the way we want it, now it's time to light it. So we have to go into render view. So you can't see it here. And this could kind of trip you up sometimes. Where's the button? So I'm pressing the middle mouse button and I'm clicking and dragging all the way to get to this render button. Render. So click on render and it will be dark because there's no lights in the scene. I want to add like a floor and a background before I add the light. Let's press Shift A and add a mesh plane. And of course it's tiny, so a few centimeters. So tap into edit mode and press S to scale this plane. Scale this plane until it fills up the camera here, just about there. And I want to create like walls going up. So I could select this vertex. I'm in vertex select. Shift click this one and this one. And if I press E and Z, it will extrude in the Z axis. Now we see nothing. Let's add a light so we can start seeing something in rendered view. Let me tool this down a bit. So let's press Shift A and add a light, and we're going to add an area light. These are the area light in the middle here. If I press G to move it up, we will see it. If I move it GZ up, and let's press 3 for side view, and I can press R to rotate it, but I want to rotate it around the 3D cursor. So I'm pressing middle mouse button to drag this across, and I'm shifting this to the 3D cursor. So if I press R, it rotates around the 3D cursor, somewhere about there. We're not seeing anything. That's because the light is very dim. If we go across here to the properties, we see here that the power is set to 10. So we could change this to like 1000, for example, and now we should see something. If I turn off normalize, it still doesn't change anything. And that's because the size of this light is only 1 centimeter, because we're working in centimeters. So we have to change the size of this, and we see what's happening there. So I want this to be about 2 meters. I don't want it to be so big. So let's reduce this size to like about 120 is good for now. We're going to be adjusting this, but 120 is good for now. And 1000 is too much because we turn off normalize. Let's click and let's enter like 5. Let's see if that works. Much better. Much better. We're going to move this a bit away. So press 3 for side view. And just move this a bit away. We want the light to be coming from the top and at a nice angle. Something like what we see here. So far, the lighting looks really good. We have to pay attention to the background. In these images here, you see the edge of the wall here. All of these you have to take note of when we're doing product photography. But this is important. So I'm clicking on the background here and I'm pressing 7 for top view. And I want to rotate this to exactly how I want it to look in the camera. You see that? It matters and it changes the look. It changes the look of your props. So I would like to let's rotate this probably like about here. So there's a nice fall off here on the wall onto the back wall as well too. Nice gradient. All right, so that looks good. All right, so we have what we want there. And how are we going to get a snapshot like how we have it here? Well, there's a nice add-on for that. It's an extension actually from a Blender developer. So to enable that, we're going to click on Edit, Preferences, and instead of add-ons, we're going to click on Get Extensions and type in Asset. Let's type in Asset. and you'll see asset browser, capture thumbnail from viewport, and you want to enable that or install that rather. I've already installed it, so it says uninstall. So just do that for me. So you have that asset browser add-on enabled. Now, seeing that we already created a nice scene there, and we have our asset here, which is our proper classic rounded arch, you will see this icon here that you may not see in yours. This icon here shows that this has already been marked as an asset. So if you right click and you scroll down to mark as asset, then that icon will show up there. As long as you do that, then it will be added here. It wouldn't look as pretty, and I'm going to show you an example of one. I'll create another object just for the purpose of demonstration. All right, is this one marked as an asset? Right, this is not marked as, so I'll click on this one. This is not marked as an asset, but I'm going to right click now and mark as an asset, and you see how it shows up there. Yeah, not pretty at all. So how do we get it to look like this? You simply click on this and press N while in the asset browser. I showed you how to get to that, so make sure and create another window, or you could even change the timeline window, changing the editor to the asset browser. Click on the one that you just marked as an asset and press N. Click this preview drop down and this other arrow here. Click on that and you'll see capture screenshot preview. Now, because you enable that extension, that is why you would see this. So if you capture screenshot preview, click on this. You simply hover the mouse over here and drag a nice box over just what you want to capture for the preview, just about there. And what you have just done is created a nice photo. This is exactly what we see here. So this is what you're going to do for all of them and create a nice asset browser. And your assets will be right in the file that you are using. And I will show you afterwards how you could use them in another project when you open a separate file outside of this. So for now, I want you to go through your props, add them as an asset, set up your lighting, right click, add them as an asset, and then use the extension to capture the thumbnail and create a nice asset browser, prop asset folder to add to your asset browser. All right, so I'll see you in the next one.